Okay, hello everyone. My name's James. Welcome to our little chat with Joe and Rick. Joe and Rick, do you want to introduce yourselves? First of all, Rick.
Yeah, I'm Rick Lister. I'm the team manager and sports director at the Pro-Noctis Rotor Red Chili Bikes race team.
Okay, Joe. We all know you anyway,
Yeah, so I'm Joe Tindley, one of the riders on the team, and the current national crit champion as well.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about your crit title in a second. So, Rick, do you want to tell me how come you ended up running a team? Because it's not what you do full time, is it?
No, my full time job. I'm a courier. My day-to-day job, but I've worked with teams for 7 or 8 years now, and always thought I could do a better job than what had been done before. So when riders came to me asking me to run a team, because I wasn't running a team in 2020, a couple of riders kept saying to me, "You want to run your own team? You should run your own team." So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. So that's what we've done. We set a team up, and yeah, it's gone well. The first year went really well for us.
Yeah, yeah. But about to swear there. Everyone swear. Yeah, you did really well last year. So last year was your first year as a team then?
Yeah, first year for this team. So it was a struggle getting all the sponsorship in place because there was no racing in 2020. A lot of the sponsors rolled over their sponsorship to 2021. So to try and find sponsors that year, it was really difficult.
Trying to start a cycling team in the middle of a pandemic when there was no cycling on.
Not the greatest, but we got there with it in the end.
It's got to be a first. Yeah. What's team ambitions generally then? So if you're looking like 3 years ahead, where would you like to think the team might be at that point?
We want to go to the UCI level. So we want to go UCI, but I want to get the riders up to that level. A lot of teams go too early, which I don't want to do. You've got to be progressive with it. So, last year was just national stuff. This year, I hope to do some racing in Belgium when we can, in the sort of lower level races over there, to give the riders an idea of what the racing's like over there. Next year, a little bit more of that. With the real aim, I think, is to go UCI in 2024. Unless we get a big budget increase in 2023.
Is that what's holding you back then? Is it the budget?
The budget, yeah, it's a massive thing. And, you need to have enough money to do it. And I can't run a UCI team on what we're run on at the moment. The bond itself is quite a lot of money. And then obviously you've got the running costs of the team. And I also, to do it right, I think I need to be on it pretty much full time through the season. So I've got to allow for that as well.
So when you talk about a bond, can you explain to people what that is?
Yeah, the teams have to, when the teams register as a UCI team, they have to put a bond down, like a guarantee with the UCI. And I think it's €25,000 or €30,000, one or the other. And it's actually there to cover wages of riders if the wages get unpaid. But a lot of the UCI teams they don't pay the riders anyway, but you still have to put this bond down. So it's just one of the rules that you have to work by.
So it just creates a framework, a level that you've got to get to. So I suppose it's good in that sense that it creates a professional framework. So if you're going to get to the end of 2022, the end of the season, you're looking back, what would you think what would look like success to you? Can you put that into a verbal sentence or two?
Sorry, say that again.
So you're at the end of 2022 now. You're looking back. What would look like a success for you in the season?
For us, we want to win the Tour Series. We were close last year. We finished second on equal points, and it went back to count back on the final event. So I want to win the Tour Series. Which is a big thing. It's massive for the sponsors with the TV coverage. And in that as well, we want to win the Sprinters jersey again. We got it this year and want to keep hold of that. And obviously the national crit champs and bits and pieces like that. So we've got riders that can win all these races. So for me, the success of the team would be to carry on that and win more races this year.
So do you think you've improved the rider roster to be able to do that, take that next step?
Yeah. So the team this year is a stronger team than last year. We've had a little bit of a change in our team. We've brought some strong riders in. They're really good climbers, but also good crit riders as well. So they're the two things we need in the UK.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got a stronger team for sure. And I think moving forward, when we go to the RAS in Ireland, the RAS Mans, we've got a really good, strong team for that. So yeah, it is a stronger team. And obviously we'll look at then the following year if we need to change anything or bring any extra riders in.
Okay, and just quickly talk about Rotor itself and how the Rotor sponsorship came about, because obviously we're here to promote the team and obviously give you a chance to talk about your sponsors. The Rotor sponsorship is quite a big deal for the team. How did that actually come about?
Yeah, it's a massive deal because it enables us to give all the riders power meters to use for training and racing. They're all on the same product. So the equipment's all the same across all the bikes. No one rider has a better bike than anybody else. Everybody's got the same equipment, which is fantastic. And the backup from Rotor is brilliant via Velotech. So it's a really good deal, and it enables us to move forward with the riders. And it came about really. I've been sending out emails early on in the season last year, looking forward to 2022. So the sponsorship with Rotor came about via that, really. I got in touch with them and moving forward, it happened. And it's been a bit of a lifesaver, really, because a lot of equipment is short still. You can't get all the stuff through, the other brands out on the market. And we're really lucky that Rotor to have the equipment to use, because chain sets are really in short supply at the moment, so it's been a bit of a lifesaver in both respects there.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think the big thing for Rotor at the moment is obviously being able to replace Shimano parts with Rotor comparatives, and not many people know that you can get an Ultegra equivalent chainring in Rotor. So I think I'm really glad you put that out there. So let's quickly talk about our national champion sat there quietly. Joe, tell us a little bit about what got you into bike racing then.
It was my stepdad, really. I grew up riding horses and always had a bike because I just enjoyed being outside. So I sort of play with friends out around the estate. And it was actually for my 12th birthday, my stepdad bought me a mountain bike and took me to a local race at the Forest of Dean. So I started out mountain biking and I just enjoyed just because it was just tough and it was muddy and all that sort of thing, And I think I won my first race and just enjoyed it, and it kind of progressed from there, really. But then, about a year later, I got picked up with British Cycling with the talent team when they first started that through Rod Ellingworth. So yeah, then that's how I got into road and track, or mainly track at the time when I was a junior and under 23. So it started as just a bit of fun through my step down mountain biking.
Do you think the mountain biking background has helped you on the road?
Oh, massively, yeah. I've got no fear. And I did downhill racing at the time as well, and trials and bicycle supercross. So I've done every discipline like that. So I don't have that fear. I don't have fear of descending or cornering. So yeah. I think that certainly has massively helped with especially with crit racing.
I do see that a lot, actually, in what I've seen in racing, is that mountain bikers have that innate ability. They seem to gain like a second on every corner. And also they have an ability to power out of corners much quicker and get to the right gear. Because I think you're thinking about the technical approach to the corner more than everybody else. So you're actually prepared for the corner before you approach it. Yeah, I've definitely seen that. And that's kind of something we're going to talk about a little bit more in detail about one of your biggest races of the year. But you've just showed me something, Joe, a second ago at the start of this interview. I wonder if you can just show the guys on the Zoom what's just arrived.
So we've just had our new kit arrive. If you can see that there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So pretty excited. It's racing starting soon, so it's all these little things towards the season just make things all the winter worth it as well. So yeah,
those cold, rainy training rides, you get a nice white jersey. I don't suppose that's going to go outside for a while yet, though, is it?
No.
So what other sponsors are involved in the team that you'd like to quickly mention?
Yeah, obviously we've got Pro-Noctis on board, who are a human performance company. Red Chili Bikes obviously are a massive sponsor for us. We use their frames. Heidi Kiatsen is our one of our other title sponsors as well. Who was on board from the start. We've brought in this year as well Pursuit Line, which is a company of Ed Clancy's. So it's great. We've got Ed on board as a sponsor, but also as a consultant for the team. So he helps us with the riders and that sort of thing. So he's going to help us out the tour series and bits and pieces like that.
Great. And just going back to you, Joe, if you don't mind. One of the questions that female cyclists get asked all the time, and I bet it gets on your nerves, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How do you feel the women's scene is looking? Because when I ran my team back in 2012 to 2015, we were pretty much the only team that had, girls training out, warming up under a gazebo in the same kit as the men, and it was, we did stand out because we were unusual. The women's scene has come on so much since then. How do you feel about the women's scene at the moment and the progression?
It's a question I get asked a lot, and I never really know how to answer it because I started racing more than 20 years ago, so I've seen cycling as a sport and also the female participation just changed so dramatically, and I never know how to answer it because I see it really positive. For example, you get the tour series, the coverage that we get, and I think the women's scene is looking domestically a lot better than the men's scene at the minute. Don't get me wrong, there's still massive improvements to go, but from my point of view, I feel really lucky to still be a part of this and to be doing what I'm doing with the support that we get. I do think the women's side's a lot better to sponsor through coverage. I think you get a lot more coverage, but I just see it as really positive and it's still growing. I see year on year teams changing and new teams arriving into the scene, and it just looks more professional. And I think a lot of the female riders are more committed. You can certainly see that there's a definite sort of jump up from under 23, and then the under 23s who are going really well at the minute because they are kind of full time. Then you've got the adults or the older people that are working. So we all still have to work and juggle jobs. But I do feel that it's certainly more professional than it ever used to be. And it's, from my point of view, it's just incredibly positive. But we've still a long way to go with, equal pay and all this sort of thing in the higher levels.
During last season, every race you did, were there any races where there wasn't equal prize money?
I honestly I wouldn't know what the men get. I don't know. I know that, like, for example, Lincoln Grand Prix, it's equal prize money. I know there are races that are equal that some aren't, but I don't race for prize money, so I don't really sort of look at that. So I think nationally, now, like the national series, they're trying to bring it up to the same level. So yeah, I think they're getting there. I mean, yeah.
Do you think it's just going to take time, or is it the sort of thing you're demanding now, or you're not really in your radar?
It's not on my radar. Like I say, I don't race for the money. I know that there are women out there who are pushing for it, and it is on their radar. And I guess domestically, I think we're kind of nearly there. Obviously, if you look World Tour level and Conti level, I think there's a huge discrepancy there, which those riders are fighting for still. Right.
Okay. So let's quickly talk about that race, which you dominated in Lincoln. So was that planned, or?
That was planned 8 weeks out. I started planning, more than 8 weeks. So as soon as I finished the tour series, I started planning for the nationals. I sat down with Phil from Pro-Noctis. I sat down with my nutritionist. I sat down with my coach, Dean Downing, and I worked out a plan on how I was going to ride that race. Basically, yeah.
So you worked out a training plan, but strategy-wise, was it something that just happened, or was it something you thought about?
No, that race played out exactly how I wanted it to, how to me it was going to play out. I didn't want to go that early, but I was going to go in the first 10-15 minutes of that race, just like that. It was down to the point where I was like, I knew exactly on the start line where I wanted to be. It was very planned. It was very. I'd gone through it several hundred times through my head. I knew from the Tour series what training I needed to do to be able to do what I needed to do in the race. I'd worked out what everyone else, how they were riding. So there's a lot of planning. It didn't just happen. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's good to hear about visualization techniques and things like that. And I'm sure that's something that you work on with your coaches and stuff all the time. Were you surprised though how well it went then? Because I know you knew where you were going to be, but you were surprised that you according to plan. You were away and you're looking at it and you're going, okay, I've got this.
Yeah, I was surprised at how they didn't really fight very much to get it back. But then I am fully aware of what the girls on the team were doing. And I should think it was incredibly frustrating for everybody else in that race, how the other girls were riding. So as much as it was how I wanted the race to go, it was a team effort. Like I'm sure at one point, I think the time came down to 16 seconds and then all the girls were on the front blocking, you know. So I am fully aware that this probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the team. But then that's all the foundations and the teamwork and everything else that we've done all season together to build that trust between us all. Yes. So yeah, I am surprised. I thought that there would be a bit more of a fight, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously different being in the race at the time. You can look back at it and think, oh well, why didn't they do that? But I think they tried. I don't think it was through lack of trying. Right. But yeah, it was. I think it's a dream. You know, you dream of how certain things go, and then to pull it off like that is quite something special, really. You know, there's so many factors with bike racing. There's mechanicals, there's punches, there's, you know, me taking a line wrong and hitting a fence. You know, there's all things that can go wrong. But yeah, it just worked out well.
Awesome. And so let's just see that jersey one more time, so then we can say that we've definitely given you the credit you deserve for that amazing jersey. So there it is, everyone. Thank you guys so much for giving me some of your precious time. I know that you are really busy at the moment prepping for what is going to be a big season for you both. Joe, Rick, is there anything else you want to quickly mention before I end this? Or
just thank you for your support.
Yeah, people who support us, thanks. Yeah. It's a huge thing, and without the sponsors, we can't do what we do. It's simple as that, really. So yeah, thanks to everybody that sponsors us and supports us through the season.
Thank you for entertaining us last season, and we're looking forward to seeing you win the Tour series and defend your title. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it.